A coin looks simple. A piece of metal, a design, a number, maybe a price. But every coin carries a much larger question. Why should anyone trust it? Why trust the metal? Why trust the ruler stamped on it? Why trust the mint that made it? Why trust the expert who authenticated it? Why trust the grade, the holder, or the database record attached to it? The history of coins is not only the history of money, it is the history of the systems people created to decide what a coin was, what it contained, and what it was worth. Every generation solved one problem, and every solution moved trust somewhere else. Metal had value before coins existed. Gold and silver could be weighed. Their appearance could be examined. Their purity could be tested. Their value could be negotiated. But every transaction demanded work. How much metal was present? Was it pure? Had it been altered? Would the next person accept it? A recognized coin reduced some of that burden. The metal still mattered, but now the object carried a mark. That mark identified an issuing authority, a recognized type, and an expected standard. Among the earliest coinage traditions were the precious metal issues associated with Lydia in western Anatolia. These objects did not eliminate weighing or testing, but they changed the starting point of the transaction. Instead of beginning with an anonymous piece of metal, the user began with a recognized monetary object. The coin made a claim. It claimed to be a known type. It claimed to meet an expected standard. It claimed that an authority stood behind it. As more people recognized the same object, the coin became easier to exchange across a wider network. Trust no longer rested in the material alone. It moved into the authority behind the mark. But that created a new vulnerability. What happened if the authority changed the standard? The coin could remain official even when the metallic promise changed. Under Henry VIII, English silver coinage moved through a series of reductions in quality. The ruler remained recognizable. The inscriptions remained official. The denomination still carried legal authority. But the amount of precious metal behind that official identity could be reduced. This was not private counterfeiting. It was state policy. By lowering the silver content, the crown could produce more nominal coins from the same supply of precious metal. The number of coins increased. The amount of silver in each coin decreased. The result still looked like money because the authorities still declared that it was money. Trial plates and formal mint standards show that this process was institutional. The weakened standard was not accidental. It was controlled, recorded, and reproduced through the minting system. The debasement continued into the reign of Edward VI. The portrait changed. The ruler changed. But the central problem remained. The coin's official identity and its metallic content had become separate questions. Under Elizabeth I, restoring confidence required more than issuing a new design. Debased coins had to be withdrawn. Metal had to be recovered and refined. New coinage had to be produced to a stronger standard. Trust had been damaged through an institutional process. Restoring it also required an institutional process. But even after the standard was restored, the user still faced the same practical question. How could anyone know what a coin actually contained? The first test was weight. A coin could be placed on a balance and compared with a known reference. If it was too light, something was wrong. The coin might be worn. It might have been clipped. It might have been produced below the expected weight. Or it might have been altered after leaving the mint. Weight could reveal that material was missing, but weight could not identify the material itself. Two objects could weigh exactly the same and contain very different proportions of precious metal. That required another test. The touchstone compared the unknown with the known. The coin or metal left a streak on a dark stone. Reference needles made streaks of alloys of known composition. The tester compared the color and the reaction of the marks. This did not transform judgment into perfect measurement. It depended on the reference material, the method, the lighting, and the skill of the operator. Formal assay provided stronger evidence. A sample could be weighed, heated, processed, and weighed again after base metals were removed. The result could reveal the precious metal content of the tested sample more precisely. But the test introduced another problem. A full issue could not be destroyed one coin at a time. Only selected samples could be tested. So now trust depended on a chain. The coin, the test, the reference standard, the operator, the institution supervising the process. Testing solved the problem of blind acceptance, but it created another question. Who verified the answer? Who verified the verifier? And what proved that the untested coins matched the sample? Hammered coinage could vary naturally. Coins of the same general type might differ in shape, centering, border completeness, thickness, and apparent diameter. That variation made deliberate alteration harder to identify. A clipped coin could resemble an irregularly made coin. A weakly centered design could hide loss of the original border. A user could see that the coin was uneven without knowing whether the unevenness came from production, wear, or deliberate removal. Mechanized minting changed that. Prepared blanks could be positioned more consistently. A screw-operated press could apply force more evenly. Designs became more centered. Borders became more regular. The shape of the finished coin became more repeatable. The machine did not create perfect coins. It created a stronger expectation of similarity. Once coins were expected to look alike, deviation became evidence. A reduced diameter became easier to see. A damaged border became more suspicious. And the edge became part of the security system. A plain edge could lose metal with limited visible disruption. A lettered, ornamented, or reeded edge carried information around the coin's perimeter. Removing metal damaged that pattern. The edge was no longer empty space. It became a security surface. The coin now carried an expected manufacturing signature. Weight, diameter, thickness, border, centering, relief, and edge. Counterfeiters no longer needed only to imitate the design. They needed to imitate the process. Historical mint records described specific ranges within which a coin could remain lawful even if it did not match the target exactly. A genuine coin could differ slightly from another genuine coin and still meet the legal standard. Quality control, therefore, had to exist throughout the production system. The alloy was tested. The strip was measured. The blank was weighed. The finished coin was inspected. Samples were retained for later review. The trial of the Picts formalized that accountability in Britain. Selected coins were weighed, measured, and assayed against legal standards by an authority independent of the mint's daily production. The process did not ask whether every coin was visually perfect. It asked whether the mint had operated within the law. Industrial minting also created repeated physical evidence. If a die developed a crack, successive coins could carry the same raised feature. If a die wore down, later coins could show weaker or altered detail. Coins struck from the same tools could look different because the tools themselves had changed. This leads to three separate questions. Is the coin genuine? How closely did mint production match the intended result? And what happened to the coin after it left the mint? Those are not the same judgment. A genuine coin can be weakly struck. It can contain a mint-made defect. It can be worn, cleaned, damaged, corroded, or preserved. Even missing detail does not always mean wear. Under moving light, intact luster can remain across a weakly struck area. Wear disrupts the surface differently. Industrial minting improved control over production. It could not control the coin's life after production. Coins were made to circulate. They were paid, counted, transported, worn, recalled, melted, and replaced. The coins that survive today are not a neutral sample of everything once produced. They're survivors. A government could change a coin's legal status in several different ways. A coin might remain redeemable after withdrawal. It might lose legal tender status, might become obsolete, but continue circulating informally. It might retain bullion value even after its denomination no longer mattered. These conditions were not interchangeable. Recoinage often destroyed the physical evidence of the system it replaced. Old silver could be collected, weighed, melted, refined, and converted into new coinage. The new monetary system was sometimes made from the material of the old one. That meant a coin could disappear as money while surviving only as metal. Other coins escaped. Some were hidden. Some were lost. Some were buried. Some were exported. Some entered institutional collections. And some were deliberately preserved by collectors. Coins also crossed political borders. Spanish colonial silver circulated far beyond the authority that issued it. Its known weight, silver content, and commercial familiarity allowed it to function in places where the issuing government had no direct control. Coins of this kind circulated in the United States and remained legal tender there until the 19th century. The object's practical value extended beyond its original jurisdiction. Hoard evidence shows another form of survival. A hoard preserves a selected group of coins deposited at a particular historical moment. It may reflect local circulation, emergency behavior, personal wealth, political disruption, or just the preferences of the person who assembled it. A hoard is powerful evidence, but it is not a random sample of every coin in use. Original mintage was only the beginning. Coins were released, circulated, withdrawn, melted, lost, exported, recovered, preserved. A low mintage coin can survive in unusually large numbers, while a higher mintage coin can become scarce after heavy attrition. Mintage alone does not determine modern rarity. Collectors eventually created a second preservation system. Coins that no longer functioned as money could become historical evidence, cabinet objects, and collectible property. But preservation created a new need. A collection without order was only a group of objects.